This morning we'll be chatting to a few of Paul Roos's sports coaches. We've got Mr. Arad Mut, he's the assistant coach with the Under-19A rugby team. Mr. Ashlyn Freddy is the head coach of the Under-19A hockey team. And Mr. Edmund Peterson, the head coach of the Under-19A soccer team. Welcome, gentlemen. It's so good to have you here. We'll be giving some questions and they'll be answering it, their honest opinion. And I look forward to hearing your answers to these questions. The first question, which school did you attend and what sports did you partake in at school?
Maybe I attended Hoërskool Swartland in Malmesbury, and I played rugby and cricket at schoolboy level, and I was probably more a cricketer than I was a rugby player.
Yeah, I went to Clutterville Senior Secondary School. I played football and cricket. I played provincial football, and I also played for the SA Schools Under-19 team. And I was actually the first player from Clutterville to play in the SA Schools football team.
I went to Rondebosch Boys High School, part of the 12-year club. I played football, cricket and hockey, and those were in order of priority at the time as well.
Did you continue playing that sport after school, and what was the highest level of achievement or the highest level that you played at, and also why did you stop playing?
So I actually went to Marty's the idea that I'm going to play cricket for Marty's, but academics was so intense during my first year that I stopped playing cricket completely, and I haven't played ever since. I was actually forced to play rugby for the rest, and then I ended up playing first team for Dagbreek eventually. But then at the end of my third year, when I just got into playing properly, a friend of mine asked me if I would like to coach the first team rugby with him. And I thought, oh, well, why not? I won't become a Springbok as a player. So I quit and I started coaching.
Yes, I continued playing football after high school. I went on to get a bursary in the US. So I went to go play in the collegiate league in the United States. Went to the draft and then got drafted for FC Dallas in the United States and played in the MLS. I also came back and played in the PSL for Morocco Swallows and SuperSport United.
I played hockey after school. I went on to represent the country on 17 occasions. I had a pretty serious knee injury and then fell out with a coach at the time. And that's when coaching started to become a little bit more serious. And then, the rest is history.
What personal exercise do you do prior to or during lockdown?
Herbie, I got into swimming, or at least tried to get into swimming at the start of the year. And I continued that during lockdown, but when it got colder, I had to move indoors and I started cycling and gymming again.
On my side, I do different types of exercise from metabolic training to cardio, but mostly cardio and weight training.
Yeah, I started playing competitive hockey again from this year. So I have started training properly again. So before lockdown, I was in the gym 3 to 4 times a week, and then also completing like 2 or 3 running sessions a week. During lockdown, it hasn't been all that possible. So I've just been trying to do some CrossFit type sessions to keep in reasonable shape.
Which other coach, either local or abroad, could even be another sport, have you learned from the most?
It would be unfair to attribute that to only one person. First of all, Brendan Fenter had a massive influence in my life when I started coaching at Paul Roos. He helped me a lot and he mentored me. But then someone who eventually became a friend of mine, Ian Campbell McGahey, who was the first team Marty Sevens coach. He also had a massive role to play in my life and he influenced me a lot. And then I must say someone like Chris Rousseau that I worked with at SAS influenced my way of thinking a lot. And then eventually someone that's now a coaching partner or a colleague of mine, Jacques Anakom, was a massive mentor to me, or still is, ironically. And I must say myself and Corne Ace, who is actually a very good friend of mine, we have a lot of stimulating rugby conversations and he inspires me a lot and we share a lot of knowledge. So it wouldn't be fair just to attribute the influence in my coaching career to one particular coach. I must say those guys played a massive role in the coach I am today.
I would say there is a couple of coaches that played a massive role and had influence in my life, from my coach in the collegiate league in the United States, Coach Steve Clements, and then Issam Ibrahim from PE, and then also Coach Michael Likobeni from Zimbabwe, who's also ended up being a good friend of mine and still mentors me today through coaching.
Yeah, I also can't really isolate one particular person. I've got three people that have really guided my coaching career and development. Paul Revington is number one. He's now working in the UK, worked with me in the Marty setup. Neville Rothman, who's also a very big influence, and he guided my coaching career from the time I started at Paul Roos in 2009. And the last one would be Kurt Serpentine, who's also had a very big influence on my coaching career.
This question I direct to Gerard and to Edmund. Which family member or friend inspires you to greater heights?
I mean, my dad is a unbelievably dedicated individual, and I've never met a person with a better work ethic than himself. So yeah, my dad just inspires me to be a hard worker, and yeah, he's a massive influence on my life, and I'm very grateful to have an example like that.
I'd firstly say my mom. She's very hardworking. She's dedicated, and she goes after what she wants, and nothing stops her from getting to that. And then also my son Seth. He does everything I do, so just that he keeps me intact for the mere fact of if I go wrong, it means that he would take the wrong route.
Awesome. Next question. Why do you love the sport you're involved in so much?
I would say it's because it's the blend between pain and pleasure in rugby, and in my opinion, it's actually the closest you'll come to warfare without signing up for the military.
I would say football has the ability to cancel out and constantly overcome adversity and failure, and it makes players, especially at Paul Roos, that they belong.
Yeah, hockey is a very dynamic sport, and that's the part that I enjoy. It's fast moving and it's always evolving. That can be a positive and a negative. It would be nice to play a couple of seasons without the rules changing too drastically. But it's a very skillful sport. So there's a lot of elements to it. There's a lot of ways that you can go about playing it. So there's not one set way of going about it, which is I find pretty cool.
If you could choose two physical items which you could not imagine coaching without, what would they be?
Well, I feel it's quite obvious, a shirt and shorts. I wouldn't be want to coach I wouldn't be wanting to coach naked.
I'd say football and my watch, because and the reason I'm saying my watch is because I'm very specific when it comes to time management.
I would go whistle because I can't whistle like normal people can, like with their fingers, and a laptop. I'm very big into video analysis, and it's become a very big part of my coaching. I don't know what the word is, but yeah, to be able to review a lot of things from training to games is just powerful for me. So those are the two things I couldn't do without.
Name one memory from the sport you're involved in that is really precious to you.
So in 2016, I was coaching the under 16 of Paul Roos, and we were leading up to, we were unbeaten at the stage, and we were playing Boys Eye the following weekend. And one of our players' dad passed away, sadly. And the week started, and we were facing Boys Eye, who was unbeaten at the time. They had not lost a single game in their high school careers, their under 16 team. And we did a whole lot of analysis. We knew their calls. I watched hours and hours of footage that was available, and we prepared really well. And then game time came, and obviously like they say, everyone has a plan until you get it in the face. And we lost Matthew Cordy and John Mostert within the first 20 minutes of the game. And Regan van der Westhuizen was injured from a previous game. So we were playing without those three key guys. And then, yeah, we scored first, we were ahead, and then eventually we fell behind. And we were behind 10-8. And then our second choice flyer of Johnny Solomons came on and he kicked a 40-meter penalty. Then we went 11-10 ahead and we won. We ended up beating Boys that Boys team lost for the first time in their school careers. I think that's probably the biggest win of my coaching career, and just all the emotion behind it, all the planning that went into it, and yeah, the fact that we could manage that task was unbelievable.
For me, it will be easy to say that being selected for the national team under 20 or 123 side, but then I would lie. So I would say Paul Roos beating Cloetisville 4-1 at their home ground while being ranked number 2, and just even up until today, that was last year, even up until today, I can still see the smiles and the happiness and just the fact that Paul Roos beat Cloetisville while they were ranked number 2 and in the top 5 for the past, say, 6-7 years. Yeah, so for me, that was one of the most precious, or if not the most precious moment in my football career while coaching and playing.
Yeah, mine's not an on-field moment. Mine's an off-field moment. I was coaching the Marty side in 2018. We were at the Universities Week. We had our last pool game ahead of us, and the tournament hadn't gone according to plan. And we were in our team meeting the night before the last pool game, which we had to win. And we went to our normal team meeting, and at the end, towards the end, one of the players stood up and he gave a very honest assessment of where the players were at mentally and that they weren't working hard enough. And it was a very, it was a Coach Carter type speech. And it was very powerful, and it really brought about honest conversations. I mean, the tournament, we went on to win the game the following day, which is awesome. We made the final, but we lost in the final. But that was a very big moment for me as a coach in terms of the culmination of what we were building off the field in terms of honesty and relationships. And that was like a pinnacle of that moment.
Which one thing in the game, or possibly which players do, makes your job as a coach less enjoyable?
Being a coach at Paul Roos, I would say their parents. I don't necessarily experience players as, or I rarely have issues with players. We're all human. From a player perspective, I can understand issues, and as a coach, I can work through them. But I think sometimes parents, as we all know, try to live out their aspirations through their children. And if they could just take a back seat to just support their kids and not try and play on their behalf, it would be great. But that's part of the game. And like they say, every sport has its injuries.
Being late for training. But first and foremost, I would say one player making another player feel inferior, because at Paul Roos football, we believe that everyone is equal. Everyone has the right to have an equal chance and opportunity to play either in the first team, second team, whichever the case may be. But yeah, and we also have a saying there that says that if you don't have anything good to say, don't say it. So I would say making another player feel inferior.
I must say that our hockey parents are first class. I can't really point the finger at them. So shout out to all our hockey parents. Mine would be when the players get a little bit of a sense of entitlement, and they don't respect our position. That's something that really, really bugs me. And when we start playing down to the opposition level, which is becoming an issue. It's a small issue, but it's not a gigantic problem, but that is something that has bugged me quite a bit.
Which one thing which players do makes your coaching job incredibly enjoyable?
I would say I see myself or regard myself as a very demanding coach. I demand a lot of the players, I think physically and emotionally. And I must say, the teams I've coached at Paul Roos have got the ability to turn up week after week. And yeah, it's heartwarming when you demand a lot, and irrespective of that, the guys turn up every day. They turn up to practice every day, and they committed. I really appreciate that of all the Paul Roos players I've coached.
I would say when you see how they have fun while working hard, because sometimes we can be very hard on them, and sometimes we can even lose it at times where we go off with them. But the next day, they're there again, and they come back, and they ready to work hard again with the respect and discipline needed towards the coaching staff.
The smile that I get when there's a sense of they've accomplished something. So we try and test our hockey players with new skills and new techniques and stuff. And there's a lot of frustration when they don't get it at first. But when the penny drops and they do get it, the smile that you get out of the kids from under 14D all the way up is just priceless.
Next question. If you were never allowed to coach your current sport ever again, which other sport would you consider coaching, either local or abroad?
I must say, if I was never allowed to coach rugby again, I'd probably quit coaching. I'd probably go work in human resources or pursue a career as an HR manager. Yeah, I can't imagine myself coaching any other sport. I don't have the passion for any other sport like I do, and I believe that you need passion and a lot of it to be able to coach, and I just don't have it for any other sport.
I would say cricket, or maybe even hockey, and cricket, because I have a passion for cricket as well. But then again, on the other side, hockey, it's similar to football, and I actually, since Paul Roos, I started watching hockey, and I quite enjoy it.
Mine's easy, football. Yeah, it's one of my passions, and I think the transition would be smooth, and something that I would really enjoy doing.
Right, next question. We always insert a question which they could not prepare for. So the rector gives you a ring, you answer the phone, and he tells you that you have to, in 30 minutes time, run a coaching session with another sport. He tells you have to run a coaching session with the soccer boys. Ashlyn, you have to go to the rugby. And Edmund, you have to go to the hockey. What would you do in those 30 minutes?
I think I'd probably get the first team hockey captain to run the session, and I would video it. And then I'd give the video material to Ash afterwards and ask him his opinion and what the boys did. Yeah. A mentor of mine always said, if you're a golf coach, you don't ask the guy, or you don't start with the grip, you don't start with the basic. You let the guy hit a few balls, because maybe he's a scratch handicap and he doesn't need your advice. So I'd probably just let the boys practice, let the captain run the session, record it, and yeah, let Ash help me.
Captain's drill. Plain and simple, straightforward. Do a captain's drill. Work it from there, and from the limited knowledge that you have from coaching, you make them run, my friend.
Yeah, I would make them run. I would put up quite a few of our lovely hockey fitness sessions, and they'll spend 30 minutes running. If the worst part of it is they'll just get fit and they'll be able to defend and tackle for the whole rugby game. So they'll run.
What do you enjoy about coaching at Paul Roos specifically?
Maybe I love the players. I think it's a massive privilege to coach at Paul Roos, and I must say the kids I've been privileged to coach. Yeah, it's an unbelievable privilege, and I'm very thankful for them. And then to coach at my quarter, I think it's probably. I heard a quote the other day that say, "If rugby was played in heaven, this would be the playing field." And to be able to coach at my quarter is probably one of the best perks.
I'd say the culture that is installed in Paul Roos, not just in one area, but in all different aspects and areas. And at football, I see it, the culture of going above and beyond just coaching, but having the opportunity to just impart in the players and speaking wisdom and teaching them other stuff besides just the normal sporting stuff.
I would say that our boys are very coachable. From the lowest under 14 player to the top under 19 player, there's a willingness to learn and get better, no matter what team they play in. And it's something I always tell our coaches is to challenge these kids, no matter what team you coach, because they do want to learn, they do want to improve. And it's the small things that make the big difference to our kids.
This next question links up with the previous one. Name 2 characteristics that make a great, in your case, rugby player or soccer player or hockey player.
I have to agree with Ashley. Definitely coachability, and then a willingness to work hard or willingness to give your 100%. I think that those 2 things distinguishes most average players or great ones from everyone, average ones at least.
Respect and discipline, because with respect, you will respect yourself to your accountability, which is your teammates, and with discipline, you will be disciplined enough to be on time and to work hard for whatever the goal, not of yourself, but the goal of the team is.
Yeah, I'll try not to repeat what has been said. So I will say being humble is one of the big ones, and also being versatile. So one of my big gripes when I was coaching at the university was players not being able to play in multiple different systems. They could only play the way their school coach coached them. And it's something that we take pride in at Paul Roos with the hockey program, is making sure that when they leave school and they do go on to play hockey, that they're able to fit in to wherever they end up going.
This next question I direct specifically at Edmund and Ashlyn. Name 1 thing a parent can do to support his or her child with reference to sport.
I would say emphasizing effort and personal growth instead of outcome, because most of the time, especially at Paul Roos, you have parents, or you come with parents that want to live out what they think where the child should be, how they think the child should play, and they want to live it through their child, or they want to put unnecessary pressure on their child. So I would say to encourage them on mostly effort, with I would say participation and personal growth instead of outcome. Because once you have those 2 together, the outcome will always be positive, winning or losing. They will always come back.
Just to let their kids enjoy the sport that they're playing, and don't put any pressure on them. Kids develop at different ages. Not everybody is going to be a sportsman. Not everybody's going to play A side. So yeah, don't put that unnecessary pressure on them. Just let them be, let them enjoy it, and just keep encouraging them.
If you could leave 1 short message with players listening right now, what would it be?
Are you making excuses? Are you finding things to blame why you're not working, or are you getting ahead of the game? Are you getting ahead of your competition?
I'll just tell them, or ask them to be intentional. Strive everybody to be the best version of yourself, not just to yourself, but to those you come in contact with, because you might just change the course of his or her life.
Use your sport to further your academics, and then start preparing for life after sport, because anything can happen and you need to have a plan B.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I truly hope the rector does give that phone call to Erhard, maybe to go to the soccer and help out a little bit there. I think there's so much that they can learn from him and all the other coaches from the other sports. I must say that's one thing that's always been great about being involved at Paul Roos. It's never us against you guys. It's always been a us together principle. So from the school side, and I'd like to thank all of you for the efforts you put in with the teams. And it's not just with the A sides which you're involved in. There are so many other boys and coaches that look up to you guys, and we wish you all the best of luck for your coaching future. Thank you very much.